Hello. Just waiting on a few viewers to get on here, and we'll talk about some truth that I think has been on everybody's mind. Getting my phone cord here to plug my charger in for my phone while I do the broadcast. But I hope that some people's willing to tune in here that will engage in discussion, will be willing to talk about things truthfully and openly, by non-biased, and the way I look at this issue that's facing America, it's been really puzzling how the government wants to allow the illegal immigrants to come into America when it's so obvious that a great percentage of the people in America don't want the illegal immigrants to come in. And it's not to say that people hate another race of people or another nationality of people. One of the arguments that I've seen throughout the whole illegal immigration crisis is the fact that America needs to take care of its own. America needs to do for its own people, and the basic fact that there's a lot of people that do believe in law and order, and doing something illegal isn't right by any stretch. I don't care what the reason is. You'll see this argument out there that it's never right to break federal law for any reason. Any average citizen in America that breaks federal law, there's consequences for that. And I think a lot of American citizens are puzzled as to why the American government is inviting, or basically encouraging, illegal immigrants to come in and pour in through the southern border, the southwestern border, whatever you want to call it. But the border there that borders Texas, they come straight into Arizona and California. And in the town that I live in, I'm not going to get into specifics as to where I'm located, but in the town that I live in, which is obviously, you can tell by my accent, in the southern United States, southeastern United States to be more precise, a town that I live in has probably got a population of 50 to 60,000 people, maybe a little bit more. And it's really saturated with a lot of people from Central America. There's a lot of people from Guatemala here. There's a lot of people from Mexico here. I think there's more people from Guatemala than anywhere that here in this area, in this particular region that I live in. This town, you've got the north, south, east, and west side of the town. The south end of the town that I live in is basically looks like a Central American town. A lot of these illegal immigrants, or the immigrants, I'll say, have been here long enough to where they are either renting properties or buying up business properties. And one entire end of the town that I live in is basically turned into a Central American society right here in the heartland of America. Everybody that I run into, that I try to speak and communicate with, they can't even speak English. You can't even communicate with these people in English. They're not really trying to come into this country and be an American. They're not trying to come into this country and speak English and basically become what America is. They're trying to bring their country here, their lifestyles here, their cultures here, and turn this area, or wherever they choose to reside, they basically turn it into their homeland. And the only difference in it is they're making more money here, um, which, you know, is totally understandable. I'm not coming from a place of hate towards any other human being. I understand completely and fully that people want to come and live a better life. They want to have better things, have better food, education, uh, automobiles, better homes, and you know, I understand that fully. I don't blame anybody in the world for wanting that. I, as an American, want that myself. You know, so you can't blame anybody for wanting to come here and make a better life for themselves. Some of the people, a percentage of the people, I'd really hate to try and get into any kind of pinpoint numbers, but some of the people that I've interacted with from Central America that live here in the area that I live in, there's a lot of them too. I'm really speaking from direct experience in interacting with people that have immigrated here from Central America. Um, a lot of the people, there's a percentage of them, not a very big percentage now, mind you, uh, a percentage of people that uh, do have the family unit. They are, it seems like they're here, they're having children, they're just trying to live the daily life, they're trying to work and have a home. And like I say, basically like the American dream, which is just to have, to raise a family, um, have a job, you know, good employment and all that. But there's another side to this that I think everybody is all too familiar with, and that's the side of a lot of them. Like the very next door neighbors that I have are there's probably at any given time 5 to 7 or 8 males in their mid to late 20s, maybe mid 30s, somewhere around that age range demographic. Those The house next door is 5 or 6, 7, maybe 8 Central American males at any given time. There's no family unit going on there. Um, there's obviously drugs, and it's not this type of situation to where they are selling drugs as far as you know, visitors or people buying drugs coming in and out of their residence or anything like that. It's not that. It's the type of drug dealing to where whatever they're doing it in quantity form. They're selling quantities of it. And these people are not showing that they're making a lot of money or anything doing that. They're smart about it. They're smart. If they're working for these cartels, then they're going to lay low. They're not going to be riding around in a big, you know, expensive new Corvette, or, you know, they're not going to be showing their wealth, and they're smart about that. They're funneling all that money back to Central America, to the cartels where they originate. Um, how do I know this? I'm friends with law enforcement in this local region that I live in, and they tell me straight up that this area is absolutely saturated in drugs that are getting trafficked from Central America, Mexico, across the border down to Georgia. And they're kind of making their way out. They're being dispersed out of Georgia. And there's so many of them that law enforcement can't even begin to scratch the surface and stopping this stuff going on. But going back to the actual title of the video, something I'm going to talk about in this video is the fact that, um, you know, it's really puzzling to how we can sit and say, or the American population in general can say, Why don't they close the border? Why don't they do all this stuff? Why don't they? It's dangerous. It's a national security threat to where we don't know who's coming across the border down there. It could be from anybody from around the world. Well, the government and the politicians are willing to take that risk for one reason. As we know, at this current time, this is October the 5th of 2021 that I'm making this video. America is closing in on $30 trillion in debt. The Democrats, which rule the House and the Senate, and of course Joe Biden as president, they're talking about a 3.5 trillion bill that they're about to pass, $3.5 trillion bill that they're about to pass. And it's full of all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, we won't even go into all the details about that. It's full of all kinds of craziness. America is really in a really tough spot right now. And not only just because of COVID, whatever else is going on in the world at any given time right now, there's a lot of things going on, and it all comes back to the economy. America has been robbed for quite some time now. And who's doing the robbing? Who's robbing and stealing from America? Well, it's been corrupt career politicians, for one. Corrupt career politicians, greedy corporations, and the politicians have been working in unison and hand in hand with these corrupt corporations. They're all after money. I think they realized after the collapse around, I guess, 2008, whenever George W. Bush was in office, there was a major financial crisis in America. A lot of big things failed. Of course, the housing crisis and everything caused that. But read up on that if you don't know the specifics about it. But most people do realize what happened back then. And then America starts having to pump out all this money into all these big major companies that, because if they failed, that kind of made the whole infrastructure of the economy crash, and the whole lending and borrowing and everything like that. All of that was imploding upon itself. Because it kind of got to be similar to like it is now, to where there was so much debt that America realized they didn't have enough means to pay it off. And I'm talking about the average Americans out here. They had gotten themselves so far into debt that there was just no way they could. It would have took them years. And when manufacturing and everything came crashing down around that time, the economy was stalling out. People's jobs just wouldn't producing enough money to pay this debt that everybody had, done, refinanced their homes, bought properties that they really couldn't afford in the long run. They really didn't look to the future and say, well, this job should last, plenty long enough to pay this whatever off. But in reality, it didn't. When the manufacturing and all that started collapsing, people started running into crises to where they couldn't pay this stuff off, and they started defaulting. Tons and tons of homes went into foreclosure. So many people lost their homes during that time period. I know one couple that had paid on a home for, 25 years, 20 plus years, 22 to 25 years, and had refinanced their home at some point and lost a home that they had been paying 22 to 25 years on. And that was one of my neighbors here too. But that was back when that economic situation happened under George W. Bush. Another thing that's going on, and I'm going to tie all this together. I'm going to make it coherent and everything. I'm going to bring everything together. with what I'm about to say now. Why is all this happening? Why did America's collapse happen in under George W. Bush? Why is it on the verge of doing it again now, but on a government level? Well, as we all know, it goes all the way back. If you really think about it, it goes all the way back to Bill Clinton's administration when he brought in. China also was brought into the World Trade Organization, and when in doing so, all of these companies in America were all of a sudden able to send their manufacturing to Mexico or Canada, wherever. They were able to send their manufacturing anywhere that they could do it a lot cheaper. So that moved a lot of manufacturing out of America. Well, whenever China was brought into the World Trade Organization, that allowed all of the corporations that were here in America, such as retailers like Walmart, Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, I mean, you name it, all of the big retailers here in America. There's tons of them. But they started realizing that they could purchase things from China really cheap. They didn't have to manufacture things here in America to turn a profit. And in doing so, they started buying up tons and tons and tons of tons and tons and tons and tons of Chinese manufactured products, whether America needed them or not. But they started selling these things online. Guess what? People's like, well, I might need a Bluetooth toothbrush. We know all the ways, things that China builds, that it just seems like they build all this stuff, and I'll call it straight what it is. It's 90% of it is useless junk, is what China produces. But it's got some little feature that says, oh, that's different. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that could be useful. And Americans are so easy to purchase things like impulse buying. Oh, that's cool. I think I need that, and then the next thing you know, Amazon's turned a profit, Walmart's turned a profit on it. They probably bought it for a fraction of a penny, or got it imported. But anyway, the whole point of that is America's manufacturing was moving away back then, and it has over the last couple of decades or more. The problem in that with the American economy is America can never dig out of its hole unless it becomes a manufacturing nation again, unless it's able to manufacture and bring money back into the country. So I wished I had a way to make graphics here. I wished I was way more advanced at video productions and being able to do this, but we'll have to use our imagination, I guess, so to speak, a little bit. But hello? Just want to make sure you hear me. Let me make sure here my microphone is turned up. I'm not really seeing that I'm getting a lot of signal going on here. Let's see. Microphone check. It appears to be working. So I hope that everybody's able to hear. But anyhow, sorry about that. Just wanted to check, make sure what I could see is going on with my microphone working. But anyhow, America is in a pickle with its manufacturing. It's in a pickle because it's not bringing any money back into the country. Yeah, Amazon, Walmart, and all that is making profits. Like they bring the product from China to America, or they sell it through their website. They buy it cheap, profit. The product goes to the buyer. The profit stays here. The cost of the item, which includes a little bit of profit too, or China wouldn't be making it. The cost of that item goes here, back to China. So in other words, America, none of this money is going to America. It's all going to China. And the American consumer, the person purchasing off of Amazon, Walmart, wherever, their money is only going to the corporation here in America. It's not going back to the country itself. So Jeff Bezos is putting it in his pocket. The Walton family is putting it in their pocket through Walmart. It's all going to the corporate wealth. It's not going to the country itself. So America as a country, the government's trying to find ways to keep this big government funded and keep everything going just through tax revenue. And they're the best thing they've been able to come up with is to tax the Amazon sales, tax, things, whatever they can do to tax and bring in more tax revenue. But see, the tax revenue is not covering it, or we wouldn't have debt. We wouldn't have a national debt if tax revenue was covering it. So that the national debt keeps expanding, getting bigger, and the tax revenue is not even knocking a small dent or a chip in that. You can look on the national debt clock, I think it's .org, and it shows all this stuff in supposedly real time, which I'm sure it's just algorithms, based on number crunching that people has done. But you can see that the national debt far outweighs the GDP, the gross, domestic production products, whatever. The national debt is rolling right along, and then the GDP is even lower now, and it keeps going down and down and down, further and further. So why does America's government want illegal immigrants? The reason being is the reason they want these people to come in here. The corporations are like, we need cheap labor. If you want us to produce, we have to have laborers, lots of them. And ask anybody virtually in America right now how difficult it is to find American workers. Ask them how difficult it is to even fill a position at McDonald's. McDonald's is offering $12 to $14 an hour or more. More, and depending upon what part of the country you're talking about, the average hourly wage across the board in America right now, about anywhere you look, is around $14 to $15 to $16 an hour. Because they're trying all they can to bring workers into the workforce, because China is blowing America away in the manufacturing sector. China is absolutely leaving America in the dust when it comes to manufacturing and producing things. That's why China keeps growing and growing and growing, and America keeps struggling and struggling and struggling. Everybody's still, all the corporations, everybody, even people on Etsy and people on eBay and wherever, people selling on Amazon, they're all trying to buy their products cheap from an import somewhere, AliExpress, Alibaba, whatever. They're trying to buy cheap products somewhere and sell them online for profit. They're not making them. Nobody is making anything except for China, uh, Japan. I mean, all the other countries over there that everybody keeps buying things from, it's definitely not America. America is not producing hardly anything. So America's government, America's politician, all the big number crunchers in the economic realm are saying that basically America's only hope to compete on the world scale is to try and find as much cheap labor as they possibly can to try and bring the manufacturing sector up in America, and to try and make it economically feasible for corporations and manufacturing companies in the world to even build manufacturing plants here in America. If they can't turn a profit, why put a manufacturing plant in America? It's simple business. Simple business. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And if America can't provide labor and laborers, and how's America going to compete with the technological advances of China when it comes to the electronics, computers, tablets, smartphone manufacturing, all the technological sector of manufacturing and production, microchips and everything like that? How's America even going to begin to compete with that with people from Central America? A lot of them that hasn't really had much of an education whatsoever. And that's not to put the people down. I'm not saying that to put anybody down. It's just facts. People in China, the people in China live in school for most of their childhood all the way up until they're an adult. They live in school. And everybody says, well, everybody, you see all these similarities in China and America now. American government is trying to turn this into a communist country like China. No, they're just trying to compete. They're trying to find any straw of any way whatsoever in the world that they can even begin to compete with China. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's people in the government who says, China's really got it going on. If we could steer everybody into the direction of, we've got a bunch of peasants making Nike shoes for, 30 cents a month. But they know that's not the reality of America, because people can't survive on that amount of money here. They've created the monster here in America, and people have to have a certain amount of money to even survive and eat and have shelter and over their head, clothes on their back. They know that they have created a great monster here in America, and they know that America is on its way to doom if they can't compete with China. But see, it's not going to work. In reality, it's not going to work. I don't care if you brought Central America's entire population to America. You could bring everybody from Panama to the Mexican border with Texas and California. You could bring every single one of those human beings to America, and there's still not going to be enough people there to even begin to knock a dent in competing with the amount of people and workforce that China has. It's impossible. The thing about it is whenever America is inviting and bringing all the illegal immigrants in from Central America, the byproduct of that is those people are used to making their profits on drugs. There's so many drug cartels that's a byproduct that's coming to America too. And it's something that the law enforcement here in America can't even begin to compete with. And it almost feels like that America is inviting the drug cartels into America because that's going to be at least a way to bring some money in. It's scary if you think about that. It just sounds crazy to even say it. But, crazier things have happened so people can make money. But there you go. Um, there you go. That's the reason America wants Central America here. The reason America wants Central America to come up here is so they can build their workforce and try to even compete on the world scale, on the world stage with China and all the other countries in the world that are just blowing America away in the manufacturing sector. And if something doesn't change drastically, they know a major collapse is coming. They can only keep in, inflating and propping up the economy and funneling all this money out to people to keep them to surviving for so long. But their dilemma is if they can't get the manufacturing kick started in America, they know that America is a sinking ship. They know. They're not telling us. They're not telling the general public this. They don't want that truth to get out. They don't want that panic on their hands. Um, you would think they might say something due to the fact that it would make and inspire people to want to go out and work and manufacture things, but no. You got the people in power that really don't want America manufacturing things. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, the people that are running these big corporations, they like being able to buy the stuff cheap and from China, and that's messing with their profit game. So they got the people in positions and the powers in position that don't want this stuff to happen. But at the same time, they're fine with uh, bringing in illegals to work in an Amazon warehouse somewhere as long as they can pay them just the very, very bottom dollar that people will be willing to accept to do a job. And that doesn't matter if it's minimum wage or, $14, $15 an hour. Whatever they know that people will uh, accept without writing, without standing up and just saying no and walking out the door. That's what they consistently tried to ride, is that fine line of what's the least people will manufacture for as to how can they maximize their profits. So manufacturing cost and maximizing profits is all these big corporations and all these politicians care about. They've sent so much of our American money to China and all these other countries that they've pretty much dug a hole and a chasm too big for America to ever be able to climb out of. I wish that the circumstances in the news could be different, but reality is reality. And if a person's willing to face reality, which is never easy, then that is reality. I've lived long enough, without telling my age, I've lived long enough to see a lot of change in America. And I've lived long enough to realize that these people that are running our country, I don't care what party you're talking about, Republicans or Democrats, they're not our friends. They're not trying to help us people. I'm just a regular person. I'm out here with everybody else. And one thing that everybody seriously needs to face the fact of is I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat, what political party you're out here fighting for and uh, shooting arrows at each other over. You're doing it all in vain. These people aren't our friends. I wish government could be something different. I wish government could be that trustworthy to where they're acting in the best interest of the people. And if there's people in a Central American country that needs to come up here, then by all means get them to safety, but don't just leave the door wide open where all these drug cartels and all this can infiltrate America. But it's too late. They already have. They already have, is the truth. And all we have as Americans is each other. And we have to be the type of Americans, if you're willing to face the truth and reality, we have to be the type of Americans to come together as people and forget all of this politic division, the political divisions, believing in these politicians that get up there with all the 8 or 10 microphones and they're telling us this plan is what America needs, but it's only going to cost $4 trillion or $1.8 trillion. We got to spend this money to fix America. No, those people are the problem. I don't care what color tie they're wearing. Those people are America's problem. We are the people. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. Please hear me on that. We are the people. If we don't get together, then America can't stand. America can't survive if we, the people, won't stand together. We don't have a country. If the people of America are not in any way unified, if the people of America aren't together, we don't have an America. We don't have a United States. The name says it all. In order for us to have America, it has to be united. The people have to be united. So I hope you've got something out of this video. Give me a subscribe if you want to. If I can get people to watch these videos, I'd be glad to do many more and talk about things. I'd love to see just this whole live chat full of questions and full of people interacting. I don't care if you agree or disagree, you're welcome here. If you're a human being with a heartbeat, me as a fellow American, I love you. I wish we could get together and I want us to get together. But with that said, hit the subscribe button. And if you run across this video and have watched it, let me know. Give me a comment on there and let me know your thoughts. And if you got a question, got a comment you want to make, feel free to post it up there and we'll see what we can figure out about all this stuff. But until then, until the next video, take care. God bless America and God bless you.